Hi everybody! So I have another art journaling project for you. This one I really like. I haven't done in a while. And I want to tell you the supplies that you need, but it's really going to depend on how you want to do this because there's a couple ways to do this. What you're going to do is you're going to write, just journal, free write, anything that comes to mind for an entire page. And then from there, parts of it are going to get highlighted and parts of it are going to get washed out. So you can do this right in your art journal if you want to. You can do it on a piece of lined paper, which is what I'm doing right now. You can do it on computer paper or something harder. Now you can use watercolor pencils and you can use watercolor paint, which is really fun. And if you're going to do it that way, then I recommend that you do not use just regular lined paper or something thin like that, that you use something more sturdy. The other way to do it is to just use a regular pencil, and then you can erase parts of it. So supplies depends on how you want to do it. But also I recommend that you have a bunch of colors and media that you like. Also, whether it's oil pastels or markers or a combination, colored pencils, whatever you want. But the first step is to find out what you're going to use to write on and what you're going to do the first part with, the writing part with. If you're going to use a regular pencil or a watercolor pencil like I have here. So once you've done that, sit down and you free write, which means you just write down anything that comes to mind. It doesn't have to make sense. It can be a release if you have something on your mind or something's emotionally upsetting you. You can just write about that. Or it can be complete nonsense and just different words that pop out of your head, whatever. But you sit there and you write for until the page is covered up. So I'm going to do that right now. Okay, so I kind of cheated a little. I ripped my page and I just did a small bit. Alright, so there we go. And I forgot to mention that you probably don't want to use every line if you're using lined paper, or that you want to leave yourself some space no matter what you're writing on. So now that I've done that and I have my writing here, I'm going to look at it and I'm going to circle or make shapes around, in some way make a note to myself about any words or phrases that pop out at me and that I want to make sure stay and don't get washed out, and to accentuate. So I'm just gonna do circles with most of them. I'm going to take beautiful inspiration out of mine. Okay. So once you've done that, there you go, you're ready to do your cover up or to accentuate your words. It's really up to you how you want to do this. If you're using watercolor paint and watercolored pencils, what happens is when you paint over the watercolored pencils, it will well, I should have done one like that. I'll do one like that at the end of the video. Alright, so I did use watercolor pencils, but I also used lined paper, so I'm not going to paint on this. And I can't erase like I could if I had used a regular pencil. So, a little bit tricky, but not too tricky. So I'm going to decide what I want to do as far as bringing these words up to surface and how I want to wash out the other ones. Okay, so I did a few different things with mine. There it is. Like I said, I circled them, and then I decided to kind of wash out the background by using some blue colored pencil and scribbling over it. You can still read what it says, When you use pencil and when you use watercolor, watercolor paint, you can get more of a wash and you can control a little bit easier how much is seen and how much isn't seen. But anyway, you can do whatever you want to make them pop out. I use some highlighters, orange and yellow, that's highlighter. This blue is highlighter. I really love them with this. But there it is. So I've got some words popping out. I drew some leaves down here by where it says camping trip. And so you do one of these, like a page of these. It can be really interesting to see not just what you write originally, but what kinds of words pop out at you, what kind of keywords are in there. And you can create whatever you want out of it, and you can use it however you want in your art journal. If you do it separately, you can cut it into pieces, you can make it into a puzzle, you can cut a shape out of it, just specific parts or whatever, and use it however you want in your art journal. If you do it directly in the art journal, you can make it into a background and layer it and put things on top of it. So mine's not, I'm not bragging about how it came out, really. It's not the coolest looking thing ever, but I do like it. It's kind of cool, in my opinion, for working with. And so I'm going to go ahead and do the watercolor one now and show you in the next clip. Okay, I am back. Here's my writing. Alright. And I have a paintbrush and some water here. You can add paint to this or not, completely up to you. But when you take the water, not sure if I can allow you to see me as I'm doing this or not. When you take the water and you go over your writing, it will start to blur it. At first, if you go lightly, you'll still be able to make out what you wrote, and it'll just spread some of the color from your watercolor pencil around a little bit. But if you keep going over it, you can blur it so that it is all color and no word, and you cannot make out what it says. So I'm going to do the top line, except the word everything, here, like that, to show you. I guess I can still see some of the letters, but certainly can't tell what it said. And let's get you back where there's light. Hello. Thanks for your patience. Okay. Little pink blur right there. So now if you add color to it, it'll do about the same thing that you would expect it to do. So I didn't circle anything here. You can just avoid the words that you want to keep, or you could circle them, whatever you want to do. Okay. So I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see this or not. Sorry, I hope so. One of them I blurred so that it's just a green, this one, green blob. But this one over here, you can actually see the writing underneath it. Well, I can. Okay, so what you do is you go over your whole page of writing however you want to, with just regular water or one color or a combination of colors, and you fade out what you want to. You can fade it out completely, or you can just dull it down. Okay. And then you would wait for it to dry and do the same thing that was done in my last one. And you could just leave the words the way they are, but it is a lot of fun, in my opinion, to work with them and make them pop some. You could do all different kinds of things with that. You can use block letters, turn them into block letters, patterns to make them pop, like striped letters or dots, anything like that. Draw little pictures around them, make them into different shapes, use different colors, all kinds of fun stuff. So I'm going to go do this off camera so I'm not taking up too much of your time. Okay, so here we go. See, I've got the anti-clutter signs. I turned the clutter into the words I wanted to pop, and the other ones you don't really see at all. There are some, I'm not seeing it in the reflection. Maybe that @ symbol you can see. Some of them